Good afternoon, folks. It is the third day of the January 2023, and it is the Tuesday edition of the show. We'll have to start on a very somber note, and that has to do with the NFL. Yes, Damar Hamlin, that's the Buffalo Bills defensive back, suffered a cardiac arrest while playing for the Buffalo Bills against the Cincinnati Bengals at the wee hours of today, and that was a very scary moment in the NFL. You had players as well as fans, everyone right there fearful, scared. Some were crying, and he had to be resuscitated by the medical team on ground. A CPR was conducted on him for over 10 minutes on the field, and when the heartbeat was restored, it was taken to the UC Medical Center for further testing and treatment. And according to a statement by the NFL franchise, that's the Buffalo Bills, is currently sedated and listed in critical condition. This is definitely fearful, it must be said. The 24-year-old collapsed against the Cincinnati Bengals just 5 minutes and 58 seconds into 5 minutes and 58 seconds left rather in the first quarter of the game at the Paycor Stadium, and after a collision with an opponent, it stood up. It was a regular challenge, stood up like nothing happened, and about 2-3 seconds after it collapsed, and it was quite fearful. The 24-year-old defensive back is playing his second season in the NFL, and remember, it was a 6th-round pick in the 2021 draft, and 5 years he played for the played college football at Pittsburgh, which is his hometown, and played for the Pittsburgh Panthers 48 times. This time around, he had 13 starts for the Buffalo Bills this season, and that's as a result of Micah Hyde's neck injury. So he's playing as a safety for as a backup rather for the safety who got injured early on. It's quite fearful. So many, football stars, and that's football stars as well as sporting stars have sent their well wishes. The Cincinnati Bengals were 7-3 up, prior to that incident, and the game had been postponed by the NFL. It must be said that the game was quite a decisive one, because a win for the Cincinnati Bengals will ensure that they clinch the AFC North Division title, while a win for the Bills will see them reclaim #1 spots in the AFC with the hope of clinching a first-round bye and a home advantage through the playoffs. It's a very, very fearful incident. The good news is alive, although in critical condition, and we just hope that he gets the needed treatment and he's able to pull through. He's a fighter, and our wishes are with Damar Hamlin at this point in time. It's been a really, really turbulent 24 hours in sports, you want to say, because just yesterday as well, we heard about tennis legend, 59-time Grand Slam champion Martina Navratilova, who disclosed that she's battling with throat and breast cancer. Our well wishes are with her as well. Hopefully, she also fights back, just as we know her to do on the tennis court during her heydays. Well, let's move away from there. Still talking about so many sporting stars and what they are going through. Pele, yes, the wake was yesterday at the Santos Stadium, and what a 24 hours it's been, because you had thousands of people, in fact tens of thousands of people had to trip into the Santos Stadium to pay their last respects to the football icon, which some quarters have deemed as the greatest ever to kick a football. Fans lined up, the streets and of the stadium, that's the Santos Stadium, known as the Villa Belmiro, to pay their last respects. The streets leading to the stadium was also filled with fans, as so many wanted to have a last glimpse of the football icon. FIFA President Gianni Infantino was also in attendance and met with Pele's son Edino, who was one of those who carried his father's coffin or casket, as it were, into the stadium. You had FIFA president also disclosing to the media that FIFA will ask its federation members to have at least a stadium named after Pele in their various countries. You know what that means? It means that you will have over 190 nations having a stadium named after Pele in his honor. Pele definitely has been an immense, contributor to the growth of football over the years, right from 1958 when he stepped onto the global scene in terms of winning the World Cup trophy for Brazil. Remember, he did that on 3 occasions: 1958, 1962, and 1970. Missed the 1966 World Cup due to injury. Scored over 1,000 goals during his lifetime, over 1,200 goals during his lifetime, having played in over 1,300 games. Definitely a legend of the sport you want to see. It was a disastrous start. They considered 2 goals. Ibrahim Konate scored an own goal early on. You also had Yohan Wissa getting the second goal on the 42nd minute. Just a minute before that, he had a goal disallowed. In fact, Brentford had 2 goals disallowed within the first half of that game. They ran Liverpool ragged all through. Virgil van Dijk was so terrible, he had to be substituted at halftime. It was really, really a terrible performance from Liverpool, and they paid for that lackadaisical and careless performance in the first half. Brentford were all over them. It was well deserved. The first half could have ended 4-5 goals, as Brentford were on the ascendancy all through. But the second half had a bit of change, because Liverpool at halftime made 3 substitutions. You had Virgil van Dijk taken off. Uyel Matip was brought in for some sort of stability. You also had Andrew Robertson brought on at halftime, as well as Naby Keita, and that seemed to change the tide of the game, as Liverpool in the first 15 minutes of the second half were all over Brentford and duly got a goal back with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, heading one past the Brentford goalkeeper, which gave Liverpool a bit of lifeline that they could get back in the game. But defensive frailties again were exposed, and it ensured that Brian Mbeumo got the third goal for Brentford. Although Liverpool fans had a bit of questions, even Jurgen Klopp himself said he couldn't believe the referee awarded that goal, because he felt there was an infringement on Konate in the build-up to the goal. But regardless of what it is, it doesn't take the fact that this is a well-earned victory for Brentford, and it moves them up to 7th in the Premier League standings. They now have 26 points from 18 games. Needless to say, they cannot be relegated, barring any ridiculous collapse, as it were. This looks like a side that will stay. They may not compete for European football places, but they look like a team that can finish in the top half, or at the very least top 12 when it comes to the Premier League standings at the end of the season. For Liverpool Football Club, it's terrible, and they just have to work further, because they have their work cut out. They're stuck in 7th, and they're still 2 points behind Spurs. You know what that means for them. It doesn't look good at this point in time when it comes to top 4 chase. Let's see if Jurgen Klopp and his men can turn things around. Well, away from that, let's turn our attention now to the Premier League action we'll have today, and quite a handful of them. But the biggest has to be at the Emirates Stadium, where Arsenal will be taking on Newcastle United. It's first against third, and that's a match that should live up to the billing. Arsenal once again showing that they have what it takes to fight through till the end when it comes to this title race. And for Newcastle United, they're proving that they have what it takes to mix up with the big boys at the UEFA Champions League stage. Arsenal top of the table with 43 points from 16 games, while Newcastle United are third with 34 points from 17 games. Now, this is a match that should once again underline Arsenal's title credentials if they get to win this. The match against Brighton Hove Albion was meant to be a title or an asset test to their title credentials, and they won that in flying colours, winning by 4-2. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Nketiah all getting on the score sheet for Arsenal against Brighton just about 3 days ago. This time around, it's Newcastle United, and here they always men are a different kettle of fish, because they've lost just once this season, and they look like a side that has what it takes to finish in the top 4 this season. So it's Arsenal against Newcastle United at Emirates. No major injury concerns for both sides going into this, so it should be a full strengthened team rather for both managers to deal with. The question is, can Newcastle peg Arsenal back when it comes to this title race? I'm sure Manchester City and the citizens will be hoping for such a favor, but Arsenal, from what we've seen this season, looks like a side that can deal with every stern test thrown at them. It will be intriguing to see how this pans out over the course of 90 plus minutes. King LeBron James there showing that once again is still kinging in the NBA, and that was a historic performance, it must be said. He is the second player after Michael Jordan to be able to score 40 plus points when it comes to, you know, that particular age in the NBA. It's just unbelievable what these athletes can do, especially LeBron James. Well, the Lakers were at the Hornets and they won convincingly, it must be said. That ended 121 to 115 points in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers over the Charlotte Hornets. And for the Hornets, the loss condemns them to 10 wins and 28 losses to the start of the regular season. They are now 13. They now have 13 losses in their last 16 games. While for the Los Angeles Lakers, the win propels them to 16 wins this season, though they have 21 defeats. And LeBron James, as I said earlier, scored 43 points, had 11 rebounds, and also dished out 6 dimes. He's just, 484 points behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time record of 38,387 points when it comes to the NBA's scoring. LeBron has 37,903 points at this time. You can always bet and go to the bank that LeBron James would equal that record in over the next 20 games, barring any injury. Thomas Bryant had 18 points and 15 rebounds for the Lakers. You also had Austin Reeves as well as Dennis Schroeder contributing 15 points apiece to the Lakers' cause. For the Hornets, Terry Rozier top scored for them with 27 points. LaMelo Ball had 24 points, not forgetting Mason Plumlee with 18 points and 14 rebounds. But that wasn't just enough to get the Hornets the win. Now, the Hornets will be taking on the Memphis Grizzlies next, and that's on Wednesday. While for the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James will be making a return to Miami, where he will be taking on the Heat. That's also on Wednesday, it must be said.